Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is Sony's latest attempt at a new Spider-Man film, and it is excellent. It is probably my favorite animated movie of the year, and it is probably in my top 3 or maybe 4. I'm not sure what after it's until I see Aquaman, but superhero movie of the year, and I really loved it.
All right, kid, listen up. This fry is your universe. It's soggy, it's weird, it's gross. And this delicious normal fry is my universe. So you want to learn to be Spider-Man.
Can you teach me?
Yes, I can. Time to swing. Good, you're doing it. Double tap to release and whip it out again.
Okay.
Whip
And release.
You're a natural. Whip.
So going into this, when I first heard about it, I wasn't sure, but I really liked the trailers. Although at the same time, like my brother had, when he saw the trailers, he kind of hated the way the animation looked, like it bothered his eyes. And I will say, like, it's different. Like, it's almost like there's like less animations per second or whatever, like frames per second. And it has like the background is like almost kind of blurred and like different. It's like a full action comic book. But I don't know if it was just, I saw it in 3D, and it was really bright. I think that made it really good to watch in 3D, but it didn't get any of the dimness that you would normally get. And it's something about it really worked, and he didn't mind it, and I loved it. And the animation just worked for this style. And I really hope that I see, more movies like this. Like if Sony or if other comic studios want to do something different that you can't really do in live action, which this movie really does. Like this sort of style could be really interesting to explore. So the setup for this film is that, of course, everyone knows Spider-Man, but I mean, even in the movies, it's kind of funny. We have really 3 different Spider-Men, and it kind of works for in this movie because there's a multiverse or a Spider-Verse that this movie takes place in, and in the comics, they have different ones, like our Earth is like, or the Earth that, Marvel takes place in is Earth 616. And then you have like the Ultimate Verse. You have like a couple of different universes that have different comic books in them. And a couple of years ago, they did this thing called the Spider-Verse. And they kind of embraced the idea of like multiple different universes. But then they did even more. And they had like a comic run of different, each, like, I think it's like 6 comics, and each one had like at least one, sometimes more, of a different Peter Parker. Then they were these things from the first Earth that are going around, that are trying to eat all the spider totems in all the universes. And then all of the different Spider-Men in their multiverse have tried to get together to defeat them. And in that you see kind of new takes on it. Like, they essentially let they gave these creators free run to make something original for this like 6 comic miniseries. And one it's actually was funny when I was getting them. I didn't get the first one because I didn't like the art and that much in it. Then the second one, when I was in my comic shop, I went to and I loved the art. And this was featuring Spider-Gwen. And I loved it so much I got that, and I got the first one too. And then I got the rest of them in that series. And the best of that was definitely the second one, Spider-Gwen. That introduced Gwen Stacy. And, she's kind of like one of the biggest Spider-Man stories is when, Spider-Man fails to save her and she dies. And that's what the second Amazing Spider-Man movie had, featured that. And it's kind of cool that having her, instead, she was the one bitten by the spider. And, Peter Parker was kind of infatuated with her and wanted to be a superhero, but he became the Lizard. And she fought him, and she kills him. And, he dies in her arms. And everyone in their world thinks she's the villain, thinks she murdered this kid, Peter Parker. And she's kind of on the run, and her, dad is the police chief or whatever. So she has to, there's a lot of cool stuff with that. And after that, that's probably one of my most expensive comics I have now that I just pulled normally, because the first run of that sold out, but no one expected much from it. But they actually did a long 26 episode series, and then they started up another series recently. And it's kind of cool. The universe is different in that one. Daredevil is evil, and there's a lot of weird stuff they do with that. And that's each one. They have Spider-Ham. They have Miles Morales. He's from the Ultimate Universe where Spider-Man dies in that, and he has to take up the mantle. And they have the noir Spider-Man, and then you have the anime Spider-Man. And so, as a comic fan, I could really get behind this whole idea of having a movie where there's the Spider-Verse and all these different Spider-Men. But at the same time, I was really wondering how it actually do at the box office, because I don't know if the common viewer could really get behind that idea. And I think, it did. It did 35 million, something like that. And that's one of the best December animated release. I mean, not insane amount of money, but pretty good. And I think it's going to might have legs, and keep making money over the holiday season. And I think that I really like the way that this movie did it. Essentially that the main character in this one is Miles Morales, and he is bitten by the spider, and he does the whole origin story. And I like his origin story is a little different, but they hit all the moments pretty much for this in this movie. And they also have that they bring in this, the Kingpin is, I guess, trying his wife and son, saw him trying to kill Spider-Man, and they ran away, and then while they're running away, their car crashed and killed them. So now he's trying to find a universe where they're still alive and bring them into this universe. But that's creating all sort of problems, and it's going to destroy their universes. And that, that Spider-Man is killed. And then when this happens, all of these different Spider-Men get transported into the Miles Morales' universe, and they kind of have to come together and fight. And he has to figure out his powers, and he has to defeat all the bad guys. And it's excellent Spider-Man movie. Yeah, I really liked all the voice talent, especially Shamik Moore as Miles Morales, Jake Johnson as the older Spider-Man, and Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy. And I think for the Spider-Man, he is older, and he's has a gut, and he's divorced from Mary Jane, and this, I like that they did them. They kind of did some cool stuff with them. And when they send stuff up, each time you see a new Spider-Man, they kind of give their origin story a little bit, a quick flash, you're reading a comic book of it. And I think it really works because if you don't know them, you can kind of get what's going on. But it's cool because it feels some you see that I think it's the Spider-Man from the trilogy. And I wonder if I think they heard that they wanted to get the actor to voice it, but he didn't want to do it. And but it's kind of funny they make some jokes about Spider-Man 3 and a couple of things, and I feel like the creators were so knowledgeable about Spider-Man and they're all different Spider-Men and women, and they really brought out the best moments of them and combined them, and it's really created a great amalgamation of a movie that also, along with all of the crazy plot stuff with the Spider-Verse, also has a great origin story for Miles Morales, and the great villains, and they all come together, and it's just a fun superhero movie that happens to be animated incredibly well. And I won't spoil the ending at all, but what they do with it, the climax, is no way you could have done in any sort of live action movie. And I love that, because so many times with different animated movies, I wish they would do something that you couldn't do in a different format. And this one does that. This is what it does in the finale. No other format could do what it did. And I just love that. I love that it's pushing the boundaries of the animation and and what your mind can comprehend. There's some excellent scenes, and I really love the movie. I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. It might be moving in my top 10 of the movies of the year. I'm not sure. I'll have to watch it again, but I really loved it. I would definitely recommend it. If you're a superhero fan or if you're a Spider-Man fan, you gotta see it. But even if you're not, I mean, like some of the Spider-Verse stuff could be a little confusing if you have no idea that how the multiverses work. But I think it really kind of eases you into it, and it'll work for all ages. Like it's not dumbed down for kids, but I think kids will still enjoy it. A lot of pretty colors flashing by, and it's a really good movie. But thanks for watching. You can check out the replay on my head or scratch me in that Z over there. Thanks.